What's up, guys? Welcome back to ManCave Collectible Reviews, coming at you today with another figure review. Today we got one that we are all excited about. Everyone enjoys the Neca Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon line. Today we've got Antrax and Scumbug. Scumbug definitely being one that I was super excited about. Antrax, I don't know so much about. I don't really remember him as a character for some reason, even as much as I watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon as a kid. It's just not a character that stands out to me, but Scumbug certainly does, as well as I remember him from the Playmates figure also. So really happy to be bringing this review to you today. These were just delivered in today from Neca Direct. I did pre-order these through the Neca shop online, and they're finally here. Let's jump straight into the review. Looking at the packaging, it's very reminiscent of pretty much all the cartoon packaging that we've seen before. We've got some animated artwork here of each of our characters, Scumbug and Antrax. The TMNT logo there, a little Nickelodeon branding here at the top. And looking at the top of the box, we've got a large TMNT logo. As we spin around to the side, we've got Scumbug, as you would have guessed, Antrax on the other side. And then on the backs, we've got product images of Antrax and Scumbug, as well as some of the other newly released figures. Two of my favorite, Ground Chuck and Dirtbag, Chrome Dome, Mondo Gecko, and Kerma. And then we have the, I guess we would call it traditional or normal write-up here on the Turtles. This write-up is not specific to the characters in the box, as Super 7 typically on theirs do give a specific character bio. This bio is pretty much the same bio on all the boxes that come with the Neca cartoon Turtles, so feel free to pause that if you care to read it. Let's go ahead and get these guys out of the packaging and see what we got. All right, guys, we got Scumbug and Antrax out of the packaging and onto our review table. And let me tell you, the detail is there. These guys are truly painted and sculpted in an amazing way. We'll talk about that a little bit further in a second. Let's talk about accessories. Now, with a lot of these accessories, I don't particularly remember these guys from the cartoon. I do believe they appeared in the same cartoon together. I tried to look up some reading online. It looks like we got an exterminator here. We've got an alien ant here. And Antrax, I just don't remember them so much from the cartoon. However, Scumbug was one of my favorite Playmates toys as a kid. So that's really where my memory of this guy comes from. So I'm not going to really be able to explain everything as far as their accessories are concerned. So if any of you guys have the details on that, I'll probably go back and watch the cartoon. I have all the seasons on digital, so I'll probably go back and watch the cartoon just to refresh my memory on these guys. But here's the first accessory that comes with our Scumbug figure. If you have some details on this, go ahead and drop a comment down below and let us know what this was used for in that episode that these two guys appeared. It's amazingly detailed. It is well sculpted. It is well painted. There's really nothing I can say negative or really about anything that we see here so far. I've kind of inspected these guys pretty well, and Neca has really done a good job on these figures. So whatever this is, let me know in the comments. Then we have a really small bug here, and this is kind of one of these little beetles that you see sometimes. You know, you might even see them sometimes crawling around your house is kind of what it reminds me of. Got the pinchers in the front, the pinchers in the back is painted purple there at the back and gray in the front. Very small though. You can see, I mean, this thing is, you know, small as your thumbnail. So it's a little accessory. And then I'm gonna try to show these the best I can. These, you get three small little beetles, and these are well painted. They're painted brown. They each have three legs on them, painted yellow underneath. They look great. But again, they are super small as well. You can see they're about the size of a thumbnail, but extremely well sculpted and well made. That is all the accessories for Scumbag, with the exception of his backpack and gun. And I didn't want to take off his backpack. I'm not even sure that you can. I'll manipulate that a little bit more as we get into a little more close-up of this guy. But the backpack does attach to the back there. It's got the cable or cord kind of wrapping around to the front there with his gun in hand. So then we jump over to our boy Antrax. We've got an amazing spiked club here. This thing is awesome. It is weighty. It's actually surprising how weighty this thing is, but it's got nice hard spikes on it. The paintwork is done to perfection. Got a nice red wrapping around it. That is sculpted in. It's not an actual wrap, but it does give off a very nice appearance of a wrap. Then we have a small sword and a knife. Both of these, again, painted excellent. White blades on these, black accenting on the blade, red handles on both. This one does have a really nice skeleton head sculpt that wraps around to both sides of it. Amazing detail there. That's just going really going the extra mile from Neca spikes here on the hilt or handle here of the sword. And then he's got this beast of an axe. So this is you can see here, the axe is almost as big as he is. The axe really, really well painted, nicely sculpted here. Got a lot of nice sculpt work up on the blade itself. The actual edges of the blade in a light gray, darker gray there in the middle, and then the wooden handle painted in brown. So yeah, just, man, Neca absolutely knocking it out of the park with this 2-pack so far. Now let's take a quick look at our 2 characters. So we'll go ahead and pull Antrax in first. And I just want you guys to see just the amount of detail and the amazing QC work that was done with this figure. You can see here on the face, obviously, there's not a paint flaw there. We do, you know, I can't tell. I think we have bendy wire here in the tentacles. From what I can tell, it kind of wants to go back, but at the same time, I can feel the plastic twisting around something in there. It feels like there's a bendy wire inside of it, and it is twisting. You can see I can actually turn that inside of that port there. So I don't know if maybe, you know, maybe you can just kind of rotate them up that way. Maybe it's not so much bendy wire as it is you can just kind of rotate them and articulate them that way. But I mean, just, you know, so nice looking. Same thing here with these. You can rotate these to whatever your liking is. They're inside the mouth. They're both done the same way. They will pop out, so there you go. And it doesn't break it. I mean, it's just a porthole, and then you just pop it back in. So there's no concern there as far as those breaking. The teeth, look how, I mean, just so well painted and sculpted in there on the teeth. The eyes look phenomenal. Coming on down, got a nice plastic belt, rubber belt that is not glued in. It's just kind of attached, you know, it kind of holds underneath the armpit there and up over the shoulder here, wraps around to provide you with a sheath for your knife. Nice painted tail there for the ant. I mean, just, this is one of NECA's best works in the TMNT cartoon line. I have to go ahead and say that at this point with the little bit of time I've spent with these 2. Really nice paint work on the belt, nice sculpting here, coming on down, nice paint work on the boots. Got that nice, you know, kind of cell-shaded look that we've seen with the entire cartoon line, going from dark purple to light purple. We do have a little bit of kind of gauntlet or what appears to be some type of a chain where somebody maybe had him chained up at some point there around his wrist. This guy just looks phenomenal. Veins there in the arms, red veins. I mean, it's just so much detail. And I typically don't rave a ton over NECA because we normally find a lot of QC issues with paint and things of that nature where paint's chipping off. Now, there are one concern, which we'll talk about here shortly, and it has to do with the articulation straight out of packaging on these, but it's not what I would consider a flaw. It's just a concern. We'll talk about that shortly. Let's go ahead and take a close-up look of Scumbug. So bringing Scumbug in for his close-up. Look at this. Just ridiculous guy. I mean, look at the detail in the eyeballs, all the way down to the veins. They're bulging out, super nice. The paint work of the teeth, the tongue in there, really, really nice. Articulated jaw, you can see that. So I love that detail. NECA's been doing a lot of that. Got the pipes coming up around and connecting to the chest area. That nasty old belly here, the shirt. That is a point of articulation there up underneath, so they work that in really nicely. Got his tentacles up here, banded together, coming on around. Got that kind of beetle shell there on the back, really nicely painted in that teal color with some nice black accented lines coming down. We do have, this doesn't seem to come off. So this does seem to be affixed to his back, which is fine with me. I have no problem with that. I would rather it stay there. It would always be on him. Why would you ever take it off? However, you can swap the side that you want the gun to come out of. So if you would prefer him to be holding the gun in this hand versus kind of his more, you know, bug looking hand, you can do that. You basically would just pull the gun out, swap the hand over into that hand, and then we're going to plug into the back of his backpack. And now you've got this. Now, the only issue you would have there is obviously now this has to come up and wrap around to this side of the gun. So you can't swap that out. So I don't like this look quite as much. It does just kind of look like it flows better coming in from this side versus this having to come back around into the inside of the gun. But again, just personal preference there. No right or wrong way to do it. See here, the shirt, it is sculpted on. It is not painted on, so that obviously looks so good. And then coming on down to the hand here, just so nicely painted there. I absolutely love these two figures. And to think that I was very, very close to passing on these two guys, what a mistake that would have been for me. The head sculpts on these two guys are unbelievable. We'll go ahead and add some accessories onto these two guys just so you can kind of see some of the different looks that we have here. Obviously with Antrax, a ton of weapons. We'll get all 4 of those weapons in his hand. Just let you guys kind of see some of the changes that can be made. We didn't get any really additional hand sculpts. So that's kind of different. Typically, we always get additional hands. In this case, it looks like they went for more of the accessory route, providing additional accessories versus additional hands. So let's take a look. We'll swap up some things here. All right, guys, so we went ahead and added in some accessories just so you guys could see it. Antrax, this dude is a battle warrior here. He has got all kinds of weapons there. Every hand has a weapon. As we spin him around, you can even see we do have his knife sheath there in the back. It fits in perfectly into that sheath, no problems at all. As far as with Scumbug, not so much going on there. We do have the gadget, the couple of bugs that he comes with, and then obviously his exterminator gun. But these guys just really, really look phenomenal. Now, a couple things that I want to talk about. Number one, I want to talk about the articulation on these guys. You have your standard NECA articulation, right? You've got jaw articulation here, shoulder articulation, double jointed elbows, double jointed knees. We've got articulation here in the midsection. We've got our ankles that are typical for NECA. Same thing over here. We do have some articulation in the chest. We do not have articulated jaws for him. All the arms are the same, double jointed elbows, swivels at the bicep. Everything's the same, but I'm not gonna go through articulation. I typically always do articulation. These guys are extremely tight articulation-wise straight out of the packaging. Now, I will say temperatures have been colder than normal here in the South. I don't know how long this thing has been floating around in the Postal Service, kind of in the cold. That could certainly play a role in this. If you're gonna do a lot of articulating with these guys, I would heat up the joints in some fashion, whether it's warm water or whether you use a hairdryer. I would absolutely recommend that. Secondly, to get the weapons in the hand of Antrax, you basically have to heat the hands. The plastic is very, very rigid and very, very hard. I ended up forcing this into the hands, these two, and I'll show you what I ended up doing. You can actually see on the bottom of this hand, do you see where that black paint chip is right there? Yeah, so I did that. That is not a issue that NECA had, that is an issue that I created. So with these two hands, the one with the club and the one with the sword, I basically just took him and dipped those hands down in warm water. It softened the plastic right up. The weapons went in the hands with no problems whatsoever. And then the hands hardened back up and he's holding the weapons. Now, to get the weapons back out, you may have to do that. But I will tell you, someone out there, if you do not take my advice today, you will break your figure. That is a promise. You will break the handle on one of these. You're gonna scuff paint just like I did. Save yourself the trouble and the frustration. Heat up these hands slightly, not boiling water, warm water. Heat up the hands, put the weapons inside. The articulation, use a little bit of heat with them if you're gonna do a lot of articulating. Mine will probably pose on the shelf just as we see right here. So again, forgive me for not doing the articulation. If you've watched my NECA reviews, it's standard NECA articulation. Most of us pose our TMNT cartoon figures as we see them here anyways. How many dynamic NECA posing TMNT cartoon figure pictures do we see? Not very many. The turtle's probably more than really any other character. Most of these, we just want them to look good on our shelves. I have not heated these up yet. I typically don't. Straight out of packaging, I give you guys the review. I normally even try to articulate them straight out of packaging. These are so tight, I will break something, and I just don't want to do that. So I hope you guys will forgive me this time for bypassing on the articulation, but I kind of talked about it. You got to see, and I told you what it is. If you've ever had a NECA figure, it's standard. That's the way it is. Let's go ahead. We will do a couple size comparisons, and then we'll wrap up our video. All right, guys, so if we wanted to mix and match with some of the Super 7 line, We got our Leonardo from the Super 7 Ultimates line, and then we have our Raphael from the actual Neca cartoon line. So I think these guys could intermingle in with the Neca cartoon line and Super 7 line. Being that there's really only a 1-inch scale difference, there you go, you can make that work. However, I think Super 7 will probably provide us with at least Scumbug, if not both of these, in the Super 7 Ultimates line anyways, and then they will be a true 7-inch form. And there we have a standard 7-inch Storm Collectibles Cyborg Ninja and a standard 6-inch Marvel Legends Cyclops AOA Wave. All right, guys, that wraps it up for our TMNT, Anthrax, and Scumbug 2-pack action figure review. I hope you guys enjoyed this quick review of these two figures. They are brand new. They should be shipping out now if you pre-ordered from Neca. Again, mine just arrived today, so be on the lookout for that shipping notice. I got one via email, so that is how I knew it was coming, and it took it about a week to get here. Drop comments down below. Let me know what you guys think of these figures. Did you pick them up? Did you pass on them? What are your thoughts if you've already gotten them in the mail? Hit that like button for me. It helps get this video out there for other people to be able to see. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, we'd love to have you as part of the ManCave Collectibles team. Hit that subscribe button. I hope everyone has a great rest of your week. Until next time.
Wouldn't it be crazy? But you still amaze me.